let this refresh.
Saying preparing, setting up.
Okay.
And the little red line is like,
Okay, I think it says.
yep.
Okay.
Okay, I will be going now. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
I will be watching.
Okay, so it is 7 o'clock. We are live. So welcome everyone to the Rivals and Heirs chat with Reese Ryan. Reese, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I am Danielle Dresser. I'm the editorial manager for freshfiction.com. And I'm excited to be here on behalf of Love Sweet Arrow to chat with Reese. Before we start, I just want to remind everyone that Love Sweet Arrow has signed books by Reese and some very cute swag, which you can still order. So please go to their website and check it out. Also, there is a chat function along the side on the YouTube page. So definitely leave questions, comments there. I am going to leave time at the end to answer some questions from the audience. So that should be fun. Also, and then I'll remind everyone again at like kind of halfway through our chat to submit questions. So there is no rush on that at all. So Reese, how are you doing during this kind of crazy and wild time?
Oh my goodness, wow. It's just always something new coming at you, right? So one of the things I definitely experienced when we first started the whole lockdown and we were getting all these crazy numbers as far as fatalities and stuff, I definitely went into a period where I found it really difficult to write. And I think a lot of creators probably found it difficult as well. So it took a while where I just could not mentally do anything but read. Yeah. So that it took a while to get to a point where I could write again. And then it just feels like something else, bam. Every time you look up, there's something new. So, you don't want to become numb, that's for sure. But it's just, you have to find a way to press through and write. But the staying at home part is, that's my jam. So I'm a homebody anyway.
Yes, exactly.
So, a conversation that usually happens in my house is my husband's like, I'm gonna take you, XYZ so you can get out of the house. And I always look at him like, who told you I wanted to leave the house?
Right. Yeah. I know it's time. It's like the introvert's time to kind of thrive because we can just stay here. It's fine. But yeah, I know like certain extroverts I know, like my husband is just like, he's like, we've got to do something. So go for a drive. Let's just drive somewhere, So that's what we do a lot of drives just to random places. So Secret Heir Seduction. So we're going to kind of focus on your two Harlequin Desire titles that came out this year. So Secret Heir Seduction came out in March, right?
Yes.
And then a Reunion of Rivals is coming in July, just a few weeks away, which is super exciting. Yes. And one of the things that I loved about both of them is that they're second chance romances. I don't know what it is. I just love second chance romance. I think they're just so wonderful. So what do you think that readers love about this trope, this romance trope? And then what do you love about writing it?
The readers probably love some of the same things I love about writing second chance romances, that you already have that familiarity between the couple. And so there's always so much history to mine. There's lots of hurt feelings, to get over. And, so there's the conflict of that. There's usually some mystery about what's kind of transpired in the time since they've been away from each other. So I just love those things about a second chance romance. But for me too, I love stacking tropes. So I love playing with the different, different elements, not just that. It's got to be three other things, but I mean, it needs to feel organic, but the more the merrier. But
Mhm.
I don't know why this year just like kind of has turned into like my second chance romance year. So like you name those two books that are second chance romances, and then my book coming out in December with Grand Central is also a second chance romance. So this is like not planned at all. It just kind of happened that all of the second chances coming back. But yeah, I love that, you know, kind of that history that you're digging into of the couple. That's always fun.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what it is. Cause yeah, it kind of already feels like lived in. They know each other. So there isn't necessarily like kind of an awkward meeting or them like convincing them that they can like at least like talk to this person in an organic kind of a way. So yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, and that's the lazy writer part of me too, is that that's what I love about like friends to lovers and second chances, that you already have this base relationship built already. And so you can just add to that as opposed to starting from scratch.
Yeah. So specifically in Secret Heir Seduction, it's part of a multi-author series, the Texas, I'm gonna get this right, Texas Cattlemen's Club Inheritance series. Um, and I think that's so interesting. So can you talk a little bit about the process behind making a multi-author series?
So when the first time I was asked to do it, I'm just like, I can't. I was like, okay, this is writing somebody else's story. I can't write somebody else's story, because essentially what happens is you are given a story Bible, and
Oh,
so it has, you know, elements that are supposed to happen in every book.
mhm.
But what I learned later, or once I started it, is that, you know, you could have 5 different authors write, give them that same material, and you're going to get 5 totally different books. You know, the feel is going to be different. There's a lot that you can bring to it. It's not like it's, you know, written for you word for word. So I really started to learn to love it. But again, it needs to be cohesive over the course of the books. And so you really need to work together.
Mhm.
So usually there's some kind of way the group will stay in touch to be able to ask each other questions.
Mhm.
So in the last few series continuities that I've been in,
Yeah.
we had like a Facebook group where we would ask questions. And so Karen Booth tells a story, not in this one, but in another one that she and I did together.
Mhm.
She laughs because I pop on there and I'm like, does your character have like a signature lipstick? You know, just like stuff that seems like so unimportant. You know,
Yeah.
you know, she has a chauffeur. Did anybody give her chauffeur a name? You know, just stuff like that. I need to have all of those questions answered in my head. So I'm the weirdo that gets on there and asks those kind of questions. So because I often like to incorporate the other characters as
Yeah.
much as possible into mine. So you'll see in my book, I incorporate a lot of the other characters, but I always ask them, you know, and I show them when I write stuff to make sure that it makes sense, that it seems like something the character would do. So we really work together to make it cohesive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've read a few different kind of continuity. Is that like the official?
Yes,
Okay,
continuities.
cool. Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah, multi-author series. Yeah, no, that makes way more sense. Yeah, and I was just curious, like behind the process. So that I mean, that answers a bunch of questions I had. So
Good.
that's really cool. So another thing that I really love about in multiple of your books, your characters always have such cool, interesting jobs. So like in Secret Heir Seduction, there's a fashion designer and a jewelry designer. And then in A Reunion of Rivals, which I have read, I got an arc of it. So that's exciting. There's a family-owned distillery, and you know, the family has to, in addition to just being a family, they also work together.
Mhm.
Um, so how exactly do you decide on these unique and often glamorous jobs, and what is the research you do to get to the bottom of everything?
So in the continuity, which is the Texas Cattlemen Club book, that was actually part of what was given to me in terms of the fact that they're going to be, he's a fashion designer and he does this kind of thing, and then she's a jewelry designer, and
Cool.
so that those two were given to me, so I was able to just play with them.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of a person who pretty easily falls down a rabbit hole of research. So, and so like, you know, you'll get advice sometimes as a writer to when you're writing so that you don't get disrupted to just, put X's somewhere where you don't know something and keep going. And like, I can't do that. Like, I need to know what her dress looks like, or, just these different things. And so a lot of times I will, I spend a lot of time on YouTube learning these things, because you can learn just about anything on YouTube,
Right.
including how to make bourbon. But as far as the Bourbon Brothers series, that's something that I came up with. And so from that series, what sparked the series itself was my husband was watching a series called The Men Who Built America. And so it was like Ford and Tesla and, people like that. And around that same time, also I saw this story about Nearest Green, who was a formerly enslaved man who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. And so that kind of made me wonder, what would have happened had he and his family been able to use his knowledge to create their own empire. And so those two ideas kind of melded. And then after that, it was just a matter of giving the siblings each their job within the organization. So
that is so cool. I had no idea. I'm gonna like Google that when
it's actually a really because it's on like the History Channel or something, The Men Who Built America, and it's just such a fascinating thing. And then the Nearest Green story is really fascinating as well.
Awesome. That is really cool. So you kind of talked about this a little bit, but family plays such an important role in both of these books, between expectations and where their loyalties lie, and in fact, newfound family, or even a little bit of a found family aspect. They're such big parts of the worlds that you build in both of these books. So how do you balance familial relationships and the romantic relationships, which are really at the core of these stories?
So that is a good question. And so I know for some people, if you're a person who's like, okay, I just want to see information, I just want to see this couple fall in love and nothing else, then I'm probably not your cup of tea. Because for me, I am very much into all of the relationships that happen around us, that the family relationships that make us, have contributed to who we are, the friendships and stuff, all of those things. So you will always see a lot of that in stories of mine from the very beginning. Family has always played a big role. And I think part of that is because two of the stories that had the biggest impact on me becoming a writer are Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice and Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. And those are very much, even though they have like romances in them, they're very much family, drama. There's all the family drama in them. And so I didn't really realize until like I was about 3 books in to my writing career that those books had that long-term effect on what I write. And so now I just kind of embrace it and run with it. So you're always going to get some sort of family drama and stuff in a book of mine. So I don't really look at it and say, okay, here I have to balance it this way or that. I just write the story. And in this particular book, because it is book 5 in our Reunion of Rivals, that is. Since it's book 5 in the series, so as the series goes, you have all the family members that and their couples from previous books are showing up. So we did end up cutting a lot of scenes in this book that are going to be given to people in my Facebook readers group as deleted scenes. But so some of the family scenes did get cut because it was just too much, because I got a little carried away this time. But I never just sit down and say to myself, oh, it's got to be this percentage. I just let the story go wherever it's going to go.
Well, it's always fun too. I think you can tell as a reader, you can always tell when an author like really loves a side character, because that side character just keeps popping in and is like, oh, I'm here. Look at me. So I really like that. I think you can tell in a Reunion of Rivals, and especially checking in with the previous couples. Like that's one of my favorite things. I love when there's kind of an established series and you see the people from before, and so it's like they're okay, they're doing well, and then you get about possibly future books too. So that's always fun. So one thing I love about category romance, so specifically like Harlequin Desires, is that when I'm talking about this, when someone interesting or fun is introduced, it's safe to assume that they're going to get like their own book eventually or show up somewhere else. So are there any characters that you are looking forward to writing about that we perhaps met or have met in the Reunion of Rivals book?
So the character that that for the last couple of books has really been making me excited about writing his story is the brother Cole. Because actually in the first book, Savannah Secrets, I think he was completely absent in that book. He was referred to often, but we didn't actually meet him. And I don't think we met him in the second book either. It wasn't until like the third book that he kind of made his appearance. And so he's slowly been, you know, building. And so I have gotten a lot of requests from readers to say that they're looking forward to this story. And my editor actually said the same thing. He was looking forward to Cole's story. So that is the story that I'm really like, and that's the final story too. So I'm kind of, you know, it's kind of bittersweet. And that's the final story in the series. So yes, his character, I'm definitely looking forward to putting his, and actually I've written a lot of scenes for that story already, which is, you know, crazy since that his book is not next, but
okay, so whose book is next then?
So Zora's book is next.
Okay.
Yeah. So Zora and her best friend Dallas, their book is next. So.
Yeah, really good. Okay, cool. All right, so right now I'm gonna do just a little, before we move on to kind of like my fun, like not book questions, I'm gonna do a little bit of housekeeping because Love Sweet Arrow has some very exciting things coming up. So and so if you do listen, or viewers, if you have a question for Reese, please put it in the chat right now. And we will get to those towards the end of this chat. But yeah, so on Monday, June 15th, so this coming Monday, believe it or not, it is Love Sweet Arrow's first anniversary. I feel like the year has, I know, it's like flown by, but also the last like 3 months has gone very slowly. But anyway,
yeah.
But it's very exciting news. So same setup, they will be on their YouTube channel, and they will be talking with the hosts of Fated Mates, Sarah McLean and Jen Prokop. So that is going to be a super fun chat. I mean, Sarah and Jen, if you guys don't listen to Fated Mates, you need to start. It's amazing. And then also everything that's in stock in the store, you can order through the website, and that will be 10% off. So they're having like a good, really awesome first anniversary sale. So that is this coming Monday on the 15th. I will be tuning in, and I hope all of you will be too. And then on Wednesday, June 24th, author Meryl Wilsner will be chatting with Jen from Fated Mates about Meryl's debut novel, Something to Talk About. It's getting a ton of buzz. It's on my
yes.
I have not started it, but I've heard nothing but good things, and it's been recommended by people I love and trust all over the place. So yeah, that'll be fun. So you can head to Love Sweet Arrow's website and find out about ordering books and all the details there. And then finally, please check out Love Sweet Arrow's Patreon. It's so important to support our local independent booksellers. And I know tons of small and independent businesses are going through a tough time, but I know for one, I want to see Love Sweet Arrow on the other side of this. I love going in store. I host a book club there, so it's really fun. And I really can't wait to be able to do that in person with all of you again. So please check out their Patreon. And if you sign up to be a patron of their Patreon, there is a special Love Sweet Arrow candle that has been made by the candle company called Novelly Yours, and all of their candles are book themed. And I have not smelled it yet, but I literally, almost as much as I recommend books when I'm in Love Sweet Arrow, I recommend candles. Like I'm like, what do you like to smell? Here's a candle. So yeah, that's what I do in the store. So yeah, so those are my 3 like areas of business I wanted to get out of the way. And now we'll move back into our chat. Last week I did a really fun summer fling panel on the Love Sweet Arrow YouTube page, and the video of it is up, so you can, anyone who wants can check it out. But one of the things we kind of talked about was how this summer is not going to be the same, obviously. And we won't be able to do like our favorite, like I love summer barbecues. I think they're so fun. So I asked all of the authors on that panel, like what is their go-to thing when they go to a summer party? Like, do you bring food? Do you bring drinks? Do you bring games? So what is your kind of go-to thing at a party, summer party?
Okay, so I usually, food-wise, usually bring in the peach cobbler.
Yum. Yeah.
which is funny because that's Quinn's
Yeah.
go-to recipe in a reunion of rivals.
Yeah.
And then we're a big game family, and the thing we're really into right now is Uno Flip. And certain people in our family accuse me of being super competitive. I don't know how true that is, but so we play and stuff. As a matter of fact, when we went to the beach for Thanksgiving, I had laryngitis, and I might have been talking smack. I might have been writing it out and holding notes up, but but we love our games and stuff. Like we do like cornhole and all that kind of stuff. So, or beanbag toss for anybody who doesn't know what cornhole is.
Yeah. And so then also I love to ask fellow romance authors what they've been reading lately. I feel like romance authors give the best recommendations. So what have you read recently that you loved and want to recommend?
So I've been doing so much writing of late. I haven't been doing as much reading, but I'm going to recommend the book that so far this year, I've read lots of good books this year, but the one that sticks with me the most so far is Lush Money by Angelina M. Lopez. Love, love, love that book so much. The love scenes will melt your face off, but it's just, and then just the whole relationship between the two, I just love it. I love enemies to lovers, and I love fake relationships, and it's got all of that. And I love that she is the one that's the billionaire, and not him. So, and then the follow-up is Hate Crush. So I have that, as well as Queen Move by Kennedy Ryan. I'm looking forward to reading. And then I have a stack of books on my desk that, like Real Men Knit and by Kwana Jackson, then The Boyfriend Project by Farrell Rashan. So I just all these books that I have to get to. The one so far that I have read and absolutely love is, like I said, Lush Money.
Yeah, that I loved that book, and I have the next one too on my TBR. So that is going to be super fun. So then I always like to this is my last official question. So then we'll move on to audience questions. And I also have just kind of some fun rapid fire questions that I always ask in author interviews. But what can readers expect from you next?
So from me next, the official release of A Reunion of Rivals is not until next month. So that's officially the next release for me. And then after that, later this year, December 1st is going to be my first book in my Holly Grove Island small town series with the Grand Central Forever. And that one is called Second Chance on Cypress Lane. Lots of second chances this year.
Yeah, that's really great. Okay, so I'm going to look at the chat a little bit. So in the chat on the side of the page, I can see a couple of people have mentioned that they're getting a glass of wine, or they're going to go get some bourbon to kind of go along with our chat. So do you have a go-to cocktail? Maybe you have a
mojitos.
Oh, mojitos.
Absolutely. Because first of all, I'm a sad, pathetic, lightweight drinker. So I can nurse a drink all night. And so I usually like stuff that's not strong. So I have a group of friends that I have known since we were kids. Literally, I was in preschool with one of them. And so we get together every couple of years at somebody's town, and we do stuff. And so, I'll make a drink like a mojito or amaretto sour. That's my jam, those two. And they're like, this is weak. But that's the kind of thing I like. It's something that's just not that strong, and I'm good.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to move into a few little rapid fire because we still have some time. So do you have kind of a first romance reading, or even an early writing memory that really stands out for you?
So probably my earliest writing memory that really stands out is that I can't even give you the details of the story itself, other than there were some hot scenes in it, which is I was in middle school. And so I took the school bus to school, and I remember I was writing, and one of my friends, was looking over my shoulder, what are you doing? And so she read a page. And so literally they were passing the pages around the bus as I was writing them. So I would finish a page and then they would pass it. That's probably my earliest memory of writing and somebody like, okay, I really want to read. I really want to read what you're writing. So yeah, that's probably my earliest one there. But as far as reading, was always a big reader. That same group of friends and I, we would go to our local library, which the first one was like the size of a corner store for real.
Wow.
And they upgraded it eventually to be a little bit bigger, but still compared to, the libraries I go to now is nothing. But, that was our thing. We would go every few weeks. We would take out the max books, read them all, and go back. And so I'm so appreciative that, my parents taught me to read at a really young age. And so I fell in love with stories then. And that I had a group of friends who loved to read and stuff. So, and supported that. So I love that. I still think about that all the time. Those memories of going to the library and stuff. So
I know libraries too during this. I mean, it's so important. They're just such important parts of communities. And I know, like, I have a 5-year-old daughter, and she, like, every week, can we go to the library yet? Can we go? And I was like, no, but it's like breaking my heart. But I'm so excited. She's a reader, so
yes,
I did something right?
Yeah, absolutely. That always makes me so excited when I see a young child, especially who enjoys reading. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Something else I like to ask authors too, because I think writing is such a solitary profession, if you will. And so how do you practice self-care? Like when you get bogged down in the middle of a story, like what do you do to kind of like lift yourself back up?
Well, one of the things that helps for, is I'm always having something else to do. So now I help keep my grandkids, just a couple days a week while their parents are at work. And so they keep me on my toes. Believe me, they're quite something. They're quite something. They have such big personalities to be two little boys, ages 3 and 8. And so, yeah, they keep me really, really busy and keep me grounded and remind me of who I am. No, I'm Nani, and that's it. So yeah, that helps a lot. And then, just spending time with family. We love playing games and just getting together and eating, or just even something small like going out in the backyard. And bought one of those those water slides that you can get at Walmart and put it in the backyard. And I knew the kids were going to enjoy it, but my husband and my son must have had more fun than they did. It was crazy. So those kind of things that definitely just, keeps me grounded, lifts me up, and gets me back together and stuff.
That's great. Okay, so from our audience, Carrie wants to know, when you craft a growing series, how do you keep track of who has done what and in which books?
Oh, that is tough because I'm usually too lazy to start a series Bible in the beginning. And so then you get like 2 or 3 books in and you're like trying to remember people's eye colors and who did what and all that. So I keep telling myself this time around when I start this new series, I am absolutely going to do that. So, well, yeah, so usually I do that. And I have learned also to, if I don't go back and read the entire series, I will at least read the book before I start writing the next one. So I'm kind of in that headspace. I'm kind of in that world, immersed in that world again to know what's going on. But definitely I do use Evernote right now. That's what I use, is Evernote, to keep track of each series. So for each series, I have what I call the series Bible, whatever, and I'll have the notes about, who's who and who owns the bakery and, what's the special there and what's this character's signature drink and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that is very helpful. Okay.
Because readers will remember and they will let you know if you got it wrong.
I'm sure they will tell you, be like, actually, this person was 27.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's really good. Okay, so Robert is asking, you have so many books out there. Do you recommend readers jump in with a specific book or start anywhere?
So I do have a lot of books out there right now. So I guess it depends. If you're a series person and you want to start with a series, then I would say start with Savannah's Secrets, which is the first book in the Bourbon Brothers series. If you just want to hop in and take a sample and say, I want to see if I like what she does, period, I would say something like one of my novellas, like Candidly Yours, which just came out in May. And I love this book so much. It's a story about a younger man and an older woman. And he was her younger brother's best friend, is her younger brother's former best friend. But it's around Caribbean carnival culture. So they travel to places throughout the Caribbean as they work together on this documentary that he's doing on carnival culture. And that's like just under 40,000 words. So if you want something small and simple and short, I would say Kindle Yours. If you want to do the series, I mean, you could start anywhere in the series, but if you want to read the entire series, then I would say start with Savannah's Secrets, so you know what's going on.
Right. Okay, so Roseanne, co-owner of Love Sweet Arrow. Hello, how are you? For tuning in. She would like to know where you get your ideas.
So usually Farrah, Rashawn, and I were just talking about this earlier today. And normally I cannot give you a specific reason that I came up with a certain idea, but for the overall series for Bourbon Brothers, as I explained, how they were kind of the merging of these two things. But other than that, I can't give you a specific thing, but different little things that you see, like this story on the news, or you overhear somebody, having this conversation or whatever, will plant those little seeds in your head. But once I start a series, then it kind of goes organically based on what's happening with those characters. It kind of takes off from there. So
awesome. All right, another one of my questions, you actually talked about this a little bit, is you mentioned Pride and Prejudice and Little Women being such big influences on your work. Are there any other books that influenced you or inspired you to be a writer, or like have changed your mind about what could be considered a good book or anything like that?
I would say those two right there are definitely the ones that have had the biggest impact on me as a writer. Again, because just so much of what's in those books, like I said, have turned out to be something just like that I love. And like I said, that family drama and that kind of family conflict that's in both of those books, I love addressing that stuff. I love addressing issues of I like having a kind of unconventional heroine that you have in both of those books. So the themes of family, forgiveness, and self-identity always come up in my books. And again, in the beginning, it wasn't something that I did intentionally, but after a while I discovered it. And I'm like, hey, okay, so now I just kind of roll with it. So you will see those things will come up over and over again in different ways as you go through every series.
Did you read, because I love both of those books as well. Did you read those when you were like relatively young, or did
yes, very.
Me too. I think I was like 12 the first time I read Pride and Prejudice. And I think Little Women, I just have this distinct memory. I still have the book, and it's just this huge hardcover, and it had like gilded edges of Little Women, and the illustrations are in color. And reading it, like sitting down as a 10-year-old and looking at this giant book. But then it's like, I read this and it was huge, and it was also so amazing. And I think too, like Lizzie Bennet and specifically Jo March are just such important characters, I think, for any young person, but especially young women or young girls reading it for the first time. I just think they're so interesting and like you said, unconventional.
Yeah, I love that about them, that they, and I guess maybe I identify with them because I was always that girl who didn't really fit the mold. I always kind of did my own thing. I was like, the one who, like, when we were in elementary school and we would have the annual field trip to the orchestra or whatever, and everybody else was like, ugh. I'm like, yay! It's just like all of that stuff. It's just like I always was like kind of going to the beat of my own drum, and I love that now. But and I kind of just did it anyway then. But so I guess I really identified with both of them. And the reason too for Pride and Prejudice, I think too, was really kind of a turning point in terms of me not just wanting to be a consumer of stories, but a storyteller, is that whole thing about it making you cry and laugh and get angry with the characters and stuff like that. After I went through all of that, like I love that so much. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do that for other people. And so, and so whenever somebody contacts me and says something like that, then that just makes my day to know that it affected them that way.
Yeah, no, that has to be like the most special thing when someone expresses how much their books mean to you. That's really cool. So this, I just thought of this one right now. That's why I was like scribbling furiously. Do you always write contemporary, or have you ever written outside of contemporary romance? And yeah, do you have any plans to do anything different?
I do. So I started a historical that I want to do as a historical series, like in the Harlem Renaissance period. And I probably started it like 5 years ago, and just kind of, it's been sitting there. So it's like something I absolutely want to do, but just trying to find the right time that I can do it. So that one has been sitting for probably at least 5 years. And then there is a romantic thriller series that I really, really want to do. And so I'm just looking for the right time to do that. And it's so funny because, and even though, you know, I read mostly romantic fiction, we watch almost exclusively murder mysteries. So lots of cozy mysteries. I was just before I came up here, I was just watching an episode of Father Brown. You know, huge into Father Brown, the Frankie Drake mysteries, the Murdoch mysteries, all of that stuff. And it's all historical as well. Yeah. And so, you know, I'm into all of that. And my husband always was like, you know, you should write a mystery. And I'm like, I'm going to do it one day. I'm going to do it one day. Yeah. So, I mean, I have this series, it's in my head and I know it's a winner. And like, I just like finding the right time and space to do it is what I've been waiting on. So yeah, I do absolutely have those two things that I want to do.
Yeah, speak it into existence. I want
that.
Earlier you mentioned that you were chatting with Farah Rashan. So you've been doing kind of these YouTube videos with people. So how did that kind of start, and what do you have coming up with that?
So a very long time ago, I used to do a podcast show. It was about career and resumes and stuff like that. So I did it for like 2 years, and so it was fun and everything. And so like once I went full-time writing fiction and stuff, I had in my head that, you know, I would always have in my head, as a good author, I should be blogging regularly. And like I would keep starting a blog and it would just die. And so then finally I was like, you know, maybe I should do a podcast or a blog instead. And so like that's something that's been in my head for like 2 years. So as busy as I am, I had like 3 days maybe where I wasn't doing anything. I was like, oh, you know, why don't I start a YouTube show? and so that's how I ended up finally going ahead and starting the YouTube channel. So yes, I do the feature, the story behind the story. And so I've been chatting with different authors because, you know, so many of my reader events that I was supposed to go to this year were canceled. And so I just kind of loved this opportunity that we've been doing of getting to know people virtually, you know, seeing authors chat together virtually, or, you know, chatting with readers. And so that's why I decided I wanted to do that as a way to, you know, let readers and authors connect. And then, you know, so I have lots of plans for things coming up. Yeah. But yeah, I talked to Farah today. I'm talking to Olivia Dade next week. Right. And Kennedy Ryan and I talked last week. So it's been fun. Oh, the other thing is I love it because it's like, again, the lazy writer in me. I don't have to do any planning or editing or whatever. We just hop on, we have a chat, and that's it. Yeah. So. That's
awesome. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to like looking at my notes. Oh, do you have like a writers group or a critique group that you want to give a shout out to before we kind of wrap up?
So I do have a Facebook writers group, my VIP Reader Lounge. And so I'm trying to think, what is the link. It's like Facebook/Reese Ryan VIP Reader Lounge or something like that. You can get it from my website. It's reeseryan.com, and that's Reese with an S, ReeseRyan.com. So from there you can find everything else. But yeah, I have a readers group, and it's just such a great group of readers. They're just so fun, and it's just such a nice, lovely group, you know. So warm, and so I enjoyed them so much. And yeah, so the group has been growing, and you know, and one of the things I love doing in it, and we just restarted this, is every 2 weeks an author will come and visit, or approximately every 2 weeks an author will come and visit. So everyone in the group has really told me how much they enjoy getting to know these different authors. So, you know, every 2 weeks somebody will come. So Nina Crespo visited us, and it's always Saturday from 1 to 3. So Nina Crespo was with us last week. Rebecca Hunter will be coming up, you know, next week, like that. And just, they come in for 2 hours. They do games and, you know, talk about their books and prizes and giveaways and stuff. And so it's tons of fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna like sign up right when this is over. Yeah, that sounds great. Is there anything you want to plug or just want to chat about? We've got a little bit of time left. We asked for a last call for questions, so I'll give people a couple of minutes. But yeah, anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. I think we covered kind of everything. Like I said, we covered the 3 books. Secret Heir Seduction, which was so much, I don't know, that was so much fun to write, because like you said, the fashion and the jewelry design and stuff, and that was super cool to be able to, you know, do that, because that's another thing. Like, I've seen people, you have people on both sides. You help people to say, okay, I don't want to see anything about careers and books. Again, I'm probably not your cup of tea. As you can see in that book, that one probably is more than any other one, but you see a lot of their career, because you know, that's a lot of who we are. A lot of times is what we do,
definitely,
in our work, and so that shows up. And so in that book particularly, you see him a lot, Darius, you know, as he's kind of thinking through the designs for his fashions and stuff, and then her as she's working on these jewelry designs and stuff. So that shows up a lot in that book. And then, you know, so work comes up a lot in a lot of these stories. But and so it's the same in Candle Yours. It's, like I said, it's short and sweet. It's a great introduction if you haven't read anything of mine before. But just a lot of fun, super sexy. Just such a sweet couple. I adore them. Like in my head, I'm still thinking about like the next step for them. So we'll see where that goes.
Maybe you can check in with them at some point.
Yeah, and it's back. They're back. It takes place back in my other big series was Pleasure Cove, which was my Kamani romance series, and still it's available right now as a you can buy all of the series in one, the Pleasure Cove collection. So that book it goes back to Pleasure Cove. So it seems like whenever I get like a indie project or something like that, I end up going back to Pleasure Cove. I love my little towns, Pleasure Cove, and then the Bourbon Brothers is in Magnolia Lake. And then the one coming up will be on Holly Grove Island, which is like Outer Banks, North Carolina. So
yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, I think that just about does it. I want to thank you, Reese, for joining us for this chat tonight. Reese mentioned to check out her website. She has links to kind of all the places that she has mentioned and all about her books and information. And I know I've been to your website, all of your social media links and everything like that.
It's all there.
Follow. Also, I said this earlier, but remember, support your favorite independent romance bookstore, Love Sweet Arrow. Come celebrate on Monday for their 1-year anniversary. And be sure to head to their website to check out or to find out about ordering books for all of their events. Almost every event that they're putting on this summer, these virtual events will have signed books, either directly signed or with book plates. So they will be signed. They also have really cute t-shirts and awesome merchandise. And you can learn more about their Patreon. My name is Danielle Dresser. I'm the editorial manager for Fresh Fiction. And thank you guys so much for joining us. This was so much fun, Reese. I loved it so much.
Thank you to Love Sweet Arrow, and thank you to you, Danielle. This has been great, and I can't wait to get a Love Sweet Arrow t-shirt.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everyone, that is it for now, and we will see you all soon. All right.